Welcome to the Big E Outdoor Radio Show with your hosts, Big E and Brandon of Big E TV. Found nationally on your favorite outdoor television channels. Big E Outdoor Radio challenges all the hot topics in the outdoors, from racing to hunting and even grilling in the backyard. Our mission is to educate on the facts of the impact of the outdoors on all our lives and encourage good stewardship and good fellowship among our ranks. Follow Big E Outdoors on Facebook at Big E Outdoors and Big E Outdoor Radio. Send us feedback and get in on conversations with us. Fasten your seatbelts, because this ain't your daddy's morning show. We'll be right back with Big E and Brandon in the morning on Big E Outdoor Radio. Big E Outdoors, located at Cedar Creek, is reopening its doors soon after its new remodeling. Home to the area's first and only big game hunting museum, with educational exhibits displaying animals from around the world and facts around the hunters' contributions to their survival. Pick up some unique souvenirs and gifts from the museum and from the Big E TV shows. Meet the pro staff from Big E TV and Big E Outdoor Radio. A great place to stop in with the whole family. And while you're there, book your next hunting trip with the Big E Outdoors professional hunters. With over 21 personal hunting destinations worldwide, you'll be sure to find a quality getaway with the Big E Outdoors destinations. Big E Outdoors is also home to Adrenaline Hydrographic. Check us out online at BigEOutfitters.com and register to win a free hunt. Big E Outdoors at Cedar Creek. Good morning. Welcome to Big E Outdoor Radio. And morning, Brennan.
Good morning. How you doing?
Great. How about this December weather that we've been having up until this point?
Oh, man, I can't wait to go sledding.
Yeah. We need some snow for Santa Claus to come in, though, you know.
You know what? I'll take a little bit of snow for Christmas, and then after that, it can all go away again. I'm fine with that.
They had that Christmas bazaar, or whatever you want to call it, that little Christmas craft fair down here at the Cedar Creek Mall.
Yeah.
And we had people that were coming into our store because they said they wanted to know if we had reindeer. We do.
That's right.
We do, but they're hanging on the wall, folks, this year. We don't have any live ones in this store. Just so you know, our Big E Outdoor Museum will be opening immediately after the first of the year.
All right.
We're going to be ready to rock and roll. Yeah. And we're going to give some guided tours around the place, too.
You know, that's right. We did have reindeer and Santa and his elves in here last year for Christmas.
They couldn't make it this year.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think right now with all of the new stuff we keep on adding, we get close to ready to open the museum, and then we add something huge.
That's right. What we're adding right now is definitely worth the wait, because we've got a fellow that actually we spent part of this week filming and interviewing this fella.
Yeah.
This part probably, we're going to hope we'll have this going into the museum by the time he gets there, the interview part, but we would definitely have his collection. We went over and we actually have a lifelong collection of this man's hunts and his animals in...
And not just him, his wife actually hunted some of these animals with him.
But she wasn't a hunter until, when did she say, 2002
or 3?
Yeah, somewhere's in there. We went and visited the Walkenfuss family, Jim and Karen, over in Shawano. And we spent a long time talking with them. And at first, when they were interested in putting their entire collection on display in the Big E Outdoor Museum, it had animals from around the world that we could use for the educational purposes of hunting, and tell everybody exactly what our mission is here, is to give the positive parts about hunting at the Big E Outdoor Museum. But as we started talking to them, we started realizing that there was a story that we wanted to preserve here. And not only just keep the collection together, but we wanted to kind of preserve his stories of his hunts and things like that, and the fact that the two of them had hunted together. And it was kind of interesting to hear.
Yeah, it was. It was quite an experience. At first, it was kind of funny because at first they were real nervous about the cameras rolling, and after a while, when they started telling their stories and they rolled on from one animal to the next animal, kept on going down the line, and eventually they loosened up just like they were talking to a buddy, and all of a sudden the camera didn't exist. But you could tell at first they were a little bit stiff. They didn't really know how to react to the cameras being on, and it took them a little bit to get rolling with it. But it really turned out to be a heck of an interview, a heck of a tour of their trophy room, and some great stories that we are definitely looking forward to passing on to everybody who comes down here to the museum. Anyone who listens to the show here, it's
some of the really great things that I hear them talk about, and the stuff that we definitely want to share is, and this is where we even have hunters that don't understand this. Folks, there's a giraffe in their collection, and we want to make sure there's a giraffe in our museum.
Yeah.
Because a giraffe and a zebra and animals like that are controversial. And when you see something like that, right away you get hunters and non-hunters alike that say, why would someone want to shoot a giraffe? I can tell you, folks, that when you think somebody don't eat a giraffe, they eat giraffe. Trust me. It's a very major food source for people.
They eat everything on the giraffe.
Yeah. and there's different levels of economic status over there, and there's certain levels that cannot afford other types of game meat. And so the rough meats, or the rougher meats like giraffe, zebra, things like that, are what some of those tribes live on. Yeah. They live on hippo, giraffe, that kind of stuff. Stuff that you wouldn't think anybody eats. They do eat a lot of it.
Yep.
And like he was saying, in his story, which will be in the museum here, when they shot it, there were two native tribes that had some people out herding goats, and they heard the shots and they came over to help them skin it out. They seen that there was a hunt and they were all happy, and they came over to help them. So then when they came over, they spoke their native language to the PHs and the guides over there, and then they decided, okay, we're going to help you guys out. So they skinned it out. And Jim, of course, said, hey, should I pay these guys? And he said, no, I already got that worked out. They did all the work for him and deboned everything and skinned it and did all this work for a piece of the loin each, and each one of them got a lung to eat. And they were so happy for that meat that they danced for it. Now, they didn't want any more meat than that at a time because they have no refrigeration.
Sure.
So it's not like they could take the whole giraffe and split it and go take it home and store it and throw it in the freezer, because it'd go to waste.
Yeah.
So there's another reason that a lot of folks say, well, geez, why can't you just, send them some food and they store it? You can't. They have to hunt. They can only eat what they can eat before it spoils. They have no way of refrigerating these. People live out in places where there is no electricity and things. So when you shoot a giraffe, they'll come out there, they take all the meat, they hang it in a tree, they take off what they can, they eat it over the next few days, it's gone. And they will eat everything, including the stomach linings and the intestines and everything. Every single body organ in there, they eat it.
The lips.
Yeah. The lips.
We were talking about that.
Yeah, we were talking about the lip soup and the lips that they will eat off of these things. So there's things that they'll eat that I can promise you that we won't.
Yeah. It was just very interesting to hear the stories and hear how the impact was on them. The stuff that stood out to them the most, the stuff that kept coming back in the conversation, in the interview.
Yeah.
It kept coming back to how appreciative the locals and the natives were,
which we
have them there, conserving, hunting and giving them something to eat and stuff to live off of. It kept coming back to that stuck out the most in their minds. That's what I got out of it, and it's really unique to see that.
And the thing is that they were there selectively hunting. So, okay, they were there. There were some giraffes out there, and they selectively took out an older bull And there were other bulls around, and there were other giraffe around, and you hear a lot of these people say, "Oh, bulls don't run with the herd." That's a complete crock too, because we see that happening all the time. So they took out an older bull that had been a little bit more beat up and things like that. So they took out through management. They're like, "This is the one to take." So they took him out. Yep. Now,
in fact, you can see the battle scars on him when you come down to the museum and see it. There's some scars on his neck all the way up it.
Yeah. Now this, the natives, if they were left and they had to hunt, they probably wouldn't have gotten this bull. They would have taken whatever they could have. Might have been a young one, could have been a mother with young. And so that's why it's important for, the hunters to go there.
Well, because for them it's desperation.
Right. And the term trophy hunting is put on it, and it's trophy hunting, because we hunt for the trophy of taking the proper animal, and it's like, well, that's a mature animal right there. That's the one I want to take, because that's the trophy right there of the herd. So I'm going to take that one. That's the one that needs to come out. Boom, you take him. He's definitely a trophy. But that doesn't mean that we just take the trophy and let the rest rot. It means, we selectively took that animal.
To put it into better perspective, if Wisconsin was Africa and we went and hunted, the native animal, which for Wisconsin is the whitetail, we would never even consider shooting a fork or a spike or any of that. We actually do a better job of game management in South Africa when we go over there hunting than we do hunting in our own state. And I'm not saying just me and you, I'm saying everybody, because that's what a lot of the American people do when they go over there to South Africa to do their hunts.
Well, and that's right. And again, it would involve discipline here that whitetail hunters don't understand.
Yeah.
And I don't care who's listening to this, I'm going to tell you right out, all you guys that have these quality deer management signs up do not understand quality deer management, because you wait and you're like, oh, it's outside the ears and it's so big, whatever, we're going to take it. That's not it. That is not proper herd management.
I mean, when you're in South Africa,
that could be a 2.5 to 3.5 year old deer that needs to keep on breeding.
Yeah.
You got to watch for the one that, that's an older deer. He needs to go. This one's a younger deer. He's still breeding. He's got good genetics. You let him go.
You're in South Africa, and you've got animals in front of you you've never seen before in your life.
Yep.
And you don't pull the trigger because he's not mature. He's not ready to be harvested.
How many times have we been over there and they've told us we got to take the smaller one of the two because he's mature and the bigger one is younger?
Yeah.
So we'll come back and talk a little bit more about this, Brandon. Let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back with some more Big E Outdoor Radio.
All right.
Welcome back to Big E Outdoor Radio. Before the break, Brandon, we were talking about management of herds and how, the difference over here, we get all these guys with the quality deer management signs up, and how in you go to other countries and they actually know how to quality manage their herds, and they actually know how to hunt the mature animal. They take time to watch the animals, and they know what they're going out there looking for.
Yep.
And it's like the buck comes in, and they might see, for instance, in a wild around here, there's a good 150, 160 incher, but he doesn't have all the bumps and the growth on the bottom of his horns, and the mass isn't there coming out of the head, so you know that he's probably only 3.
Yeah.
So then you're watching, and you got an 8-pointer over there who's got real heavy horns, and he's got some gnarly. Now he's a mature animal, and he needs to go.
Yeah.
So the discipline that it takes to be able to say, hey, I let that big guy go because he needs to keep on breeding, and that's the genetics we want, and I took out the old guy. Guaranteed 95% of the people listening to this show could not do it.
No. And it's funny because it's such a given when you go over to a place like South Africa. It's such a given, and it's the way that they do the things over there. Whether you have quality managed any kind of animal or any kind of a hunt in your life, whether you've done that or not, when you go to South Africa, it comes so natural to you because everybody over there does it.
Yeah. Well,
versus it comes as natural to quality manage animals over there as it does to come to Wisconsin and hunt on public land and shoot anything you see. It comes that easily.
it doesn't necessarily come the first time, though. The first time you're over there, it seems like, you're sitting there, and just like you were saying before the break, you're sitting there, and all of a sudden a big impala comes in, and you're like, holy smokes, that's a big impala, and you're ready to shoot it.
Well, to you, it's a big impala because you've never seen one before.
Yep. Well, and even then, once you start learning what makes them mature, they'll look at it and they'll say, yeah, but that one's still a little bit young. And you're thinking, what? He's bigger than... And they're like, no. Yeah.
You're sitting here thinking, man, I just got garholed.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden the next one will come in and they'll be like, okay, that one there we need to shoot. That one's got to go if you want them. And then we'll go look for another one later, but that one's got to go. And you're looking at them thinking, well, that one's 4 inches shorter than the last one that was in here.
Yeah.
Then you can see the difference. Once you get them on the ground and they start explaining to you.
Yeah, you see it.
And then you realize, okay, they wanted us to shoot him because this is a mature animal that needed to come out.
Yeah.
And he's an older one. And so the other guy there was young and he was still breeding. And the same thing with the kudu was the big thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we had some kudu that were unbelievably long that come in. I mean, we got kudu coming in, 55-inch kudu, and they're like, no, he's still young.
Yeah, I'm over there like, what? Come on.
We're thinking, are you out of your gourd, man? We want to whack that thing. And then the next one will come in, and he might only be 48 inches, and they'll say, okay, that one's ready to go. And we're thinking, how in the world can you tell? And they're like, well, you can tell by the way the horns are and the tips and this and that and everything. And we're thinking, for the first couple of days, we're sitting here thinking, this is a crock of bull. They just want us, But then once, now I've been back over there, and now I can do it. And the last time I was over there, I was telling a couple of the guys, I'm like, no, that's a young one. And I had the one guy look at me, and he goes, are you kidding me? He goes, that one's bigger than the last one we had. And I'm like, yeah, but that's a young one. And then I tried explaining it to him, and he couldn't figure it out. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I know what you're feeling right now, but you're not getting screwed, I promise you. This is how it works. And I tried to explain it to him how the horn thing works and everything. And once you figure it out, then I came back and started looking at a lot of these people's pictures that come back.
Oh yeah.
And then I can tell you if you're going with a good outfitter or not, and a good PH, because some of these guys go to these safari club banquets and things, and they get these discounted hunts and all these great things that they buy on auctions. They go over there and they come back and they got all their pictures, and I'm looking and I'm thinking, okay, that's an immature impala, that's an immature kudu. So they shot a bunch of young animals and they did not get trophies.
Yeah.
While they were there. So then, once you've been there enough time, but if you only go once, you'd never know the difference.
No. Yeah, it's still a good trip. You still have fun.
Mm-hmm. But somebody that's been to Africa many times could walk through your trophy room and tell you right out whether you shot good animals or not. That's for sure. So, but I do know that you got a good kudu when you were over there. And right now, I can tell you that in South Africa, to shoot anything over a 52-inch kudu is getting almost impossible because everybody hunted them so much that the kudu that are up there, especially you get between a 52 and a 55-inch kudu, and the trophy fee on them is so high because there aren't any.
And that's funny because when we were over in Shawano at these folks' place doing the tour and the interview, and I'm looking at this greater kudu that they had. They had the greater kudu and was it the Eastern Cape kudu?
You can see the color difference in the hides. Yeah.
And their greater kudu that they had there, which is what I got. I had a greater kudu, was 48 inches. And I'm looking at it thinking, God, that's a big kudu. It's just beautiful. And I said, how big was he? And they said, I think that he was 48 inches was what he was.
Yeah, yours is 10 inches bigger than that. Yeah.
Mine was 57 inches.
Yeah.
And I still don't even really know, how lucky I am, how blessed I am to have gotten a trophy like that. To me it was just a matter of actually listening to the guide, because I would have shot any one of them 48, 46-inch kudus that came in before him, because to me they all look big. And he kept on telling me to hold off and hold off and hold off, and then I ended up getting this trophy that at that time I didn't even realize what I had there. And I'm still learning now that it's more than what I imagine it is. So that's how...
And now,
the trophy
it's getting
hunting,
hard to find those things.
It is, yeah. And that's how the trophy hunting over in South Africa can actually help you. It's if you listen to your PH, over here we call them guides. If you listen to your guide, they're going to get you on a very nice, mature animal. Then you're going to end up with something that you didn't really imagine you could have ended up with.
Yeah.
You just got to focus and listen.
Well, that's where you really start learning about trophy hunting overall. You start learning about it when you're over there. You really learn how to quality manage. You start learning about all that kind of stuff. So, I just think it was a great experience for us because we learned a ton of things while we were there. So, I would encourage anybody that has not been to Africa to go and try it because it is a beautiful country. It's a great place to take your family. And definitely, it's an experience you'll never forget. We surely can't forget New Zealand. New Zealand is another place that we'll be headed to this year. Yep. And taking some great folks, that want to travel with us, going along. And but more importantly, and we want to make sure that we mention this during every hour of the show, we've decided that with the situation that our deer hunting is in here, that we need to start setting up some fun things to do for people. And so we are going to be setting up, right after the first of the year, some hog hunts, some southern hog hunts. So we're looking for some groups, some people that want to come in. And there don't have to even be a group. If you're just one person and you want to go along with us on a hog hunt, come on down here, talk to us. We'll give you the details. And we're going to go in, and it's going to be like about 4 days. We'll leave here on like a Wednesday night, let's say, after work, and we'll do the driving. You can sleep, whatever. We'll make sure we got a good, comfortable vehicle. We'll get a motorhome or a little bus or something like that. We'll get lamers or somebody to drive us, and we'll go down, and we will stay at Gum Log Plantation, and you will not believe the cooking that's down there. And everybody's going to get plenty of hogs, trust me. There's hogs coming out of your ears down there.
Why would we take a bus?
One of them little short buses. You know what them are like. You rode on them.
You said we were going to take something comfortable.
Them little limo bus things. So that we can have some beer in the back.
Oh.
Root beer.
Yeah.
Root beer.
So a bus kind of like what I have for my bachelor party.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one of them. Only without the dancing girls on it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you shouldn't. You better not.
Yeah.
So, so anyway, it's a very, very inexpensive hunt that you're going to come back with a lot of meat. And you're going to have a lot of fun and bring some extra bullets along. Great way to take a kid along with you. And so...
Hey, you know what? I know a guy that can go with us. We can take his bus.
You do?
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
The guy that drove for
my bachelor party. He wants to do some hunting with us, and there we go. So I'm going to get a hold of him on Facebook, and
there you go.
I'll get us a driver.
There you go. We got the driver all set up. So, all right, let's take a quick break, Brandon.
This segment of Biggie Outdoors is brought to you by Snap Fitness of Wausau. It's time to get in shape, and Snap Fitness is the right place to do it. With 2 locations in Weston and Wausau, you're never far from a Snap Fitness. Open 24/7 for members with clean and well-maintained equipment. Check out their new location across from Fleet Farm on Wausau's north side with all new machines and equipment. Sign up for some classes or training. Pick up the supplements you need and take advantage of the monthly deals and sign-up specials they have going on now. The staff at Snap Fitness is waiting for you to assist you in any way they can. So head on down to Snap Fitness today and get signed up.
Welcome back to Biggie Outdoor Radio, and we're back after a break. Brandon and I got to get on a little something here that's a little bit serious. I don't know if you've heard about it yet, but it's on the outdoor news already, and of course it was actually on the local news as well, that another deer ranch was found in northern Wisconsin that had an animal with CWD.
Really?
Yeah, and it's actually one we use.
Oh boy.
Yeah. But this is the funny part about it is I actually found out about it by accident. I called the guy and was talking to him, see how things were going, and he told me about it. And the state vets and stuff had just left. And then I went and I looked, and it was of course on the news. He said, and he said that when they found the case, it was a suspect case. It wasn't even a for sure positive. It was one of them deals that came back. It was suspect,
Yeah. A positive, negative.
Yeah, it was one of them deals. And they said we're not going to release. They have to release that there was one found, but they weren't going to release where it was. But then the DNR comes out and releases the name of the place. So now, this is what's bad. They're getting all this hate email. And people emailing them saying, I hope you and your family die of CWD, and people threatening them and him and his family. And he's got kids and stuff. And I mean, first of all, I'm going to tell you, folks, if you're a hunter and you're sending stuff like that, you should be ashamed. And you should be taken out, strapped to a tree, and have the hell pounded out of you. Because you're ignorant. Okay? You're ignorant, number one, for what you're saying. You're ignorant for attacking anybody in the hunting business, whether they're a high fence or an open range or what they're doing.
You're ignorant to be making threats like that.
That's right, yeah, especially to a man with a family. And you don't even know what you're talking about. So if you're a non-hunter or an anti-hunter and you're making threats like that, well, but that just even shows your ignorance even more. But to threaten somebody in the United States, I'm going to remind you, you think that you're protected like the people in England that want to get on here and do this anti-hunting terrorism online. The only reason they get away with that stuff is because we can't go over the seas and track them down. Let me tell you something, folks. Here in America, we can track your IP address. We will figure out who sent the email. And when you send a threat, you will be charged and you will go to jail. And it is not your little local sheriff's department that's going to handle this. It's going to be the FBI or the U.S. Marshal Service that's going to handle it. And you might think, oh, well, heck, I'm from Podunk, Wisconsin. They're not going to get involved. Wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Because if you send me an email like that, I'm going to make sure that I push it to the right authorities, and it is going to get handled, and you are going to get charged. So you better think before you start sending emails and making Facebook threats, because that is illegal. You cannot do that. This is the United States of America. We're civilized and we have laws, and trust me, you start making threats like that against people, and you are going to go to jail. That's a violation. You cannot make terroristic threats to people.
Yeah.
Now, on the issue of CWD, first of all, it's a suspect case, and I'm gonna go right back to what we've talked about in the past. In the United States, not a single time has any one of these cases ever been proven to come from the deer that they say it comes from. Ever. And what I mean by that is every time one of these ranches does a test, when a deer is hunted, they take the animal, the head, to the vet. The veterinarian pulls 2 samples of everything. 1 sample gets sent off to the state. The other sample they keep for a DNA test. When the samples come, when Ames, Iowa supposedly tell the state of Wisconsin and the Department of Ag that XYZ Ranch had a positive test, the state and the Department of Ag come down and they say, hey, you're positive, we found a deer, and it was this deer. They never ever bring back the sample. They never ever let them DNA test it back. They never let them use that second test, that sample that was there, and do a second, what do you want to call it? A second
analysis,
or a second opinion.
Yep.
They never DNA tested back to make sure that it was that animal. Not one time in history have they done that. They've gone in and completely depopulated people's ranches, taken away their livelihoods, shot all their animals off, and they say that they pay them, and it does cost the taxpayers money, but what they pay them compared to what those animals are worth is pennies.
Yeah, it's a kick in the nuts.
Now, if somebody came to you and told you that you had cancer, or you had AIDS, or whatever, wouldn't you want a second opinion?
Absolutely.
And wouldn't you want to know for sure that that test that they came back with was from you? Let's say you went in today to give blood, and they came back and said, hey, you have an STD, and we have to put it in the county and notify everybody and notify the county and plaster your name all over the place and tell everybody that you have. Wouldn't you want to know for sure? Wouldn't you want a second opinion and want to know for sure that that was correct before they smeared your name all over the place? But in the world of CWD, the DNR and the Department of Ag, they don't need to do that. They just come to your place of business and they say, well, guess what? Today, you got CWD, and there's nothing you can do about it, and there's no way we're not letting you prove it. You can't DNA test it. We say you have it.
And they shut you down.
And they shut you down. Now, even though then they'll go back and they start depopulating some of these places, which means that they start killing off their animals, okay? They did the one up by Eau Claire or wherever it is up there. They shot that. They've been shooting some of that guy's breeder animals up there. And they said that they found 33 more suspect cases, but they're finding it in these healthy-looking deer. The deer are healthy. So they're carrying the prion. Well, guess what? There's people out there that carry the disease for hepatitis, but they don't have hepatitis. There's people out there that carry certain things, but that doesn't mean that they catch it. They're a carrier. Okay, so that's what's happening is they're finding this and they're saying, oh, well, this animal is got this prion in it. Well, sure it does. Some are susceptible and some are
not
immune.
Yeah.
And so they're coming back and they're saying it, but those deer aren't sick. There's nothing wrong with them. They're fine. They're healthy as can be. They're in his breeding farm. They're fine. And so, and again, on all them deer, nobody knows. They took all these healthy deer out of there. They killed them. They came back and said, yeah, we found 33. Prove it. They got no proof. They won't prove it. They're just saying, yeah, this is what we found. Too bad for you. It's a farce. I'm telling you. They have to justify what they're doing. Now, even with all of that, people are coming down and saying, oh, the high fence, it's the farms, it's the farms, it's the farms. Let me give you some numbers, folks. In all the high fence testing that's done, it's almost an unmeasurable amount because it's less than 0.5% has come back on farms with CWD, less than 0.5%. In the wild in Wisconsin, they've already found this year like over 12 or 1,300 cases. So in the wild of Wisconsin, they're over 2%, which still is a number that who cares?
It's 2%.
Yeah. You know, they've been dealing with this in Colorado and they've given up in a lot of these other states, but we're still. It's like somebody invented the light bulb and now we're going to try to invent it again. You know, let's invent the square light bulb. You know, who cares? It's already there. You know. But that's the way the state of Wisconsin is. It's like, okay, well, you know, they already did this already 30 years ago, but now we're gonna spin our wheels, waste our time, and we're gonna do exactly what they did and figure out that there's nothing that we can do about it either because it's a disease that Mother Nature has out there. There's nothing we can do about it. It's like oak wilt. You know, you're not gonna go out there and get rid of all the oak trees in the world. It's gonna be there.
Yeah.
You know, or Dutch elm disease or whatever else there is out there. So. they're going out there and they're chasing a ghost is pretty much what it is. So again, like I said, in the wild, there's 2%. In farms is less than 0.5%. Now, on this deer is on film. Many, many hunters actually have this deer on film. I have this deer on film. Not because we were trying to hunt this deer, but we happened to catch this deer on film. This deer weighed over 300 pounds when it was harvested, as healthy as a horse. It was born on that ranch before the guy that owns it now bought it. So it has just as much susceptibility to having CWD as any of the wild deer around that area. And yet people are running around saying, oh, it's the ranch owner, it's the deer ranch, it's the deer ranch. Guess what? It ain't his fault any more than it could be anybody on the outside. We're going to come back and talk a little bit more about this because it's a pretty hot topic. Be right back with some more Biggie Outdoor Radio. Hey, welcome back to Biggie Outdoor Radio. We're wrapping up this hour, and Brandon, we were talking about CWD and all this garbage that's going on with CWD. It's stupid, people. It's absolutely stupid. Go to your outdoor news, Wisconsin Outdoor News, and you're going to find the very first blog on there is from me. It's going to tell you a lot. You're going to learn a lot right there. If you've got any common sense at all, you'll learn a lot from that blog. If you're an idiot, you're not going to learn anything from it, and you'll stop reading it halfway through. So I'll just tell you that right off the bat. When you get on here, pretty much what I'm telling you is, this is what they told them up there, too. They went up there and they looked at it and they said, well, the deer was born here. Nothing we can do about it. He said, well, I still have deer that I'm bringing in from my other farm. They said, yeah, well, we know, and we know it wasn't one of the deer you brought in, so you can finish bringing your deer here. So they didn't even stop him from finishing bringing his deer in. Then the other thing is they said, well, there's really nothing that they can do in a place like that because every deer that he's got there leaves there dead, so who cares? It's a hunt farm.
Yeah.
So he's going to continue operations. They're all going to be tested. Now here's the kicker. And this, I believe, is the ultimate goal of our illustrious DNR and everything like that because, they're running out of money for doing these CWD tests. Now he has to test them all, and now he has to pay for them all. He gets no reimbursement. Therein lies the underlying goal.
Yeah.
Now he has to pay for all the tests. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he doesn't get reimbursed anymore. So
now instead of doing 25%.
Yeah, now he's got to do 100.
50%,
it was 50%. Now everything that's hunted, he has to test. and now instead of getting reimbursed for part of the test, he has to pay for it all.
Oh my goodness.
So I think that's what's going to happen is they're going to go around eventually and they're going to find it on every hunting preserve so that they can say, okay, you can't bring in any more deer. You have to live with what's here because they want to stop the movement of deer moving around.
Yeah.
And then they can say, oh yeah, we magically found it on your animal, but you can't prove it because we're not going to let you DNA test it and we're not going to, And the thing is they just pick a deer randomly. Boom. Well, they didn't count on the fact that
that was a 300-pound healthy.
That is a 300-pound deer that probably a dozen of us have on film.
That deer there's nothing wrong with that deer.
And I got him on film within 3 days of him being shot, and he's fine. His deer's running around, he's breeding, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with this deer.
Yeah.
With the fact that they can just come in and they can just randomly say, "Bang, you got CWD," and there's nothing you can do. You don't have any recourse. You don't have any way that they can go back and prove where the animal came from. You don't. So now they can close the place down. They can make them keep the animals that are in there. They can make them pay for the entire test, and they can get out of the fact that by the federal law says that if they're going to make them test, they have to reimburse them. But now when they do this, they can get out of it. So the state's kind of getting out of their obligation.
It's almost like the state is losing the wind in their sails, and they know it.
Yeah.
And so this is their way out of it.
Yeah, it's like they're way out of it.
They're like, okay, we don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is that they're caving to the greenies. That's what they're doing.
Yeah, they are.
Now, the other part of the thing that you're going to find in the blog, and this goes to all you hunters and any of you hunters that read my blog and don't agree with what I got in there, again, like I said, then again, you're an idiot. Because in there, and I don't care, if you don't like what I said, come on down to the store and I'll tell you you're an idiot right to your face. Because I'm going to tell you that if you're out there attacking any of these people for having a deer ranch, when you're attacking somebody for hunting on a ranch, then you are part of the problem of us losing our rights to hunt altogether. I don't give a dang whether a guy wants to hunt on a ranch, if a guy wants to hunt over bait, if the guy wants to hunt with a crossbow or with a rifle or out of a helicopter or chuck a damn grenade. Hunting is hunting. And you all had better start getting a grasp around that. And you better start realizing that we're all in one big pie. And I got this right in the blog. There's 2 pies out there, folks, and these pies are exactly the same size. There's one pie that's anti-hunters, then there's one pie that's hunters. And in the pie that's hunters, we've got everybody. We got the guys that hunt high fence. We got the guys that hunt with dogs. We got the guys that hunt with crossbows. We got everybody in there. The only thing is the pie over here that's anti-hunters, there's nothing that divides them. They're one big pie. They're a pumpkin pie. It's all one. We're over here, we're a mixed fruit pie. So we start chucking out the pieces of our pie that we don't like. And our pie starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller because we lose voters. And pretty soon, we don't have enough pie to vote. And that's exactly what it comes down to. Now, if you can't see the correlation in a simple analogy like that, then again, you're an idiot.
Yeah. If you need a picture to understand it, we'll put a picture on the next blog so you can understand it.
Yeah.
Get out the crayons and follow along.
It's that simple. I'll put up a room. I'll put a room in there, and I'll put 100 chairs on one side of the room with an aisle, and 100 chairs on the other side of the room. And we'll picture that those 100 chairs on one side of the room represent all the hunters, and the 100 chairs on the other side of the room represent all the anti-hunters. And now we're going to go over to the hunter side, and we're going to say, okay, 25 of those chairs represent people that hunt in high fences. So we'll take all them chairs, fold them up, and throw them out the door. Now let's have a vote.
And get this. That might be the only way some people hunt. So not only do you eliminate them from the hunting side of it, but maybe some of those people say, you know what? Screw it. I don't have anything on the hunting side of it anymore, and they join the anti-side.
Yeah, because
not only do we lose, but they gain.
You're sitting there and you're
twice.
Attacking us all the time, and maybe they've lost the use of their legs, maybe they've lost their vision, their hearing, maybe they've got a terminally ill child and they don't know when he or she is going to pass away, and so they're using a high fence operation. We've seen all these different types. We've seen professional sports people that come there because during the football season, when it's hunting season, they have practice, they have all these other curfews and things, and they only got a couple of days during the week that they can go hunting. Not on a weekend, during the week. They can slip away for a couple of days.
Yeah.
Tell me where you're going to go. But tell me what would happen if all of a sudden your favorite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers ain't going to make the game this week because he's deer hunting.
Yep.
Well, how would you like that?
Aaron Rodgers is out elk hunting in Colorado. He ain't going to make the game this week. Next week comes along. Oh, Aaron Rodgers slipped on the mountain, and he ain't going to make the game for the rest of the season.
Because he hurt himself hunting. Yeah. They can go to a safe place. It's the same thing with your brain surgeons that go to places like that because they don't want their hands to get hurt. We've had people like that have come places and they say, look, we got to go to a controlled environment because if I break a hand or something happens to me, there's people that their lives count on me.
Yeah,
we've had people that have come and hunted on high fence ranches and have actually died on the way home. That's how close they were.
Mm-hmm.
That was the last hunt that they ever got. So don't tell me that those people don't deserve the right to hunt, because if you start taking that away from them, then they become non-hunters, and soon they could become anti-hunters. Okay, so now let's really start a war. Let's take out the dog hunters. Because when the law gets passed that says you cannot pursue game with dogs, I want you to think really hard about the wording in that. You cannot pursue wild game with dogs. So some of you guys might say, "Oh, that's great. That gets rid of them bear hunters."
Or that gets rid of those guys running deer with dogs.
Okay.
Well, guess what? That gets rid of all dog hunters. That gets rid of rabbit hunting, squirrel hunting, coon hunting, bird hunting. That gets rid of. You might as well get rid of your hunting dogs, folks.
That's right.
You know,
because you're done.
Buy yourself one of them little labradoodle mixes that doesn't breathe right and has all these health issues. That's a mixed mutt and doesn't hunt for anything. You might as well buy a cat.
Yeah, because now you're not going to hunt with dogs anymore. Because trust me, when they write these laws, they write them broad enough that they can start saying, "Hey, when this law was written, and this is how it is, so I guess it does cover this particular kind of hunting, and I guess this can't happen, and this can happen." They base it on the narrow-mindedness, thinking you're only taking one thing out, but they'll catch you on the loophole of everything. And then, so now we can chuck all the dog hunters out. Now, guess what? You really ticked off the dog hunters. Well, the dog hunters say, "You know what? We're going to get even with you. We're going to vote with the anti-hunters." So again, it doesn't matter whether you want to hunt on a fence. It doesn't matter whether you want to hunt open range. It doesn't matter if you want to have a semi-automatic assault rifle out there hunting deer. It doesn't matter whether you want to have I don't care if you want to hunt deer with a fully automatic 50 caliber. If you're hunting, you're hunting. If you're a gun owner, you're a gun owner. You better start standing together, because we are one group. And the only way we're gonna win votes is if we say, "Hey, look, you know what? I don't hunt your way. I don't have a fully automatic assault rifle or a semi-automatic. I shoot a bolt action. But hey, more power to you. I'm with you. Let's stand together."
That's how we have to do it, folks.
That's right.
Yep.
We'll be right back with a brand new hour of Biggie Outdoor Radio right after this. So stay tuned.